right, guys. I want to tell you guys to check out a great website on Facebook. It's Boxing Videos Only for Fights. They're the greatest place that you can go and watch boxing videos on Facebook. Like their page, comment on their posts because they're a great site. Give them a look out, guys. We support each other. Hey, how you doing out there, fans? We're back again, outside the squared circle. I'm your guy, Dennis Ragland. That's your boy, Mr. Frank Nance. We're back for another episode for you guys. And I got to say, we have a lot to talk about. So get your popcorn, get tuned in. Let's get ready to talk about this and dive into the subject. Heading off. Frank, lead us into the biggest fight of the century. What it was supposed to be, but it actually wasn't, in my point of view. It was a huge hype job, if you ask me. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. The fight didn't live up to the hype. I know hindsight is 2020, but you could almost see it coming. I mean, you're talking about two aging stars. Floyd Mayweather's 38, Pacquiao's 36. Both have obviously declined since the first negotiations took place years ago. Like I said, hindsight's 2020, but at the same time, it's everyone bought into that hype that was like, maybe they slowed down just enough to make this fight entertaining, which is kind of weird logic, but you can understand that. I know I kind of took that, and that's what brought me into the hype, because if you guys remember who watched, and I know you remember, Dennis, when the fight first got made, I didn't like the fight. I didn't want to see it because I was so pissed that it didn't happen 5-6 years ago. Now, fast forward weeks after, I start buying into the hype. Floyd's gonna turn back the clock a little, Pacquiao's gonna throw a bunch of punches, and we simply just didn't see it. I mean, to be honest with you, I've been doing a lot of posting on Reddit, a lot of posting on Boxing Scene, and my sentiments about the fight were the first 6 rounds from a technical standpoint weren't terrible to watch. I mean, they were both setting traps for each other. They were both throwing feints. They were both just trying to figure each other out. I mean, Pacquiao had his moments in the 4th and 6th round that he clearly took. Floyd controlled some of the, the second round, the 5th round. So it was, it was a little give and take. But it's funny because I guess the part where the letdown came was that I just had this thing in my head where I thought, they were both going to have a game plan. And I figured they'd both be cautious early. But the very second that someone landed something that was significant, I thought, we might see a bit of a firefight here. And in that 4th round, when Pacquiao landed that solid left hand, I said, okay, we're heating up here, boys. Pacquiao landed something nice. And then I believe it was the 5th or the 6th where Floyd landed that nice pull counter. And I was like, okay, we're heating up. And it just never really happened. So, I mean, the fight was just so underwhelming, man. What did you think about it?
Well, I actually share your sentiments. Starting off, I thought this is how it was going to go. I figured the first round was just going to be a chess match. They're going to figure each other out. It was going to be a lot of nervous tension. And then after that, I figured the first guy to land a punch, it was going to be Young. A clean punch, I should say. And I figured Pacquiao was going to be the guy that go in and try to land a clean punch. And from there, Floyd would say, okay, let's go. And we would have a great fight. I thought it was just going to be a classic battle. 2 guys that people perceive to be past their task, but in reality, these guys were just aged enough to have a perfect battle. That's what I thought.
Right.
And I couldn't have been more far from the truth because what we had was 2 older guys that seemed afraid to actually get hit.
Yeah.
Mayweather, what he did, I got to say this first because I don't want the people saying that I'm just a Mayweather hater and all that, because let me say this before I say anything. I have never bet against Mayweather before. I've never rooted for him to lose. I'm not that guy. I actually love Mayweather and everything he brings to the sport, because watching him perform the sweet science, if you're a true boxing fan, you can truly appreciate that. But with that being said, did he hold too much for my liking? Sure. Did he move a little bit too much? Even though that's part of his technique, and he modeled his game after hitting and not getting hit. But I felt he could have engaged a little bit more. That night he just became a sniper, pop shotter, and moving and holding. And I thought we were gonna see. I mean, this like I said, this was supposed to be the fight of ages. This was supposed to be that time where we could say, what were you when this fight happened? Because this was the best fight that we could ever hope for. And it just didn't live up to that. Not in my eyes. And I gotta even fault Pacquiao a little bit, because with Pacquiao, he didn't live up to his end of the bargain.
Yeah.
I don't know, and we're finding out with the shoulder injury that he had a torn rotator cuff, which is a whole other subject we're diving into. But I gotta wonder, did that hold him back, or did he could not figure out Floyd? Because his aggression was far and few in between. That's not the Manny Pacquiao we know. We know Manny Pacquiao that let combinations go. That he had. You know, another thing I didn't even see. Pacquiao is great for having a quick in and out.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I didn't see that as much. I didn't get to see where he get the clap on his gloves like this, and then he comes in firing off mega shots. Yeah. I didn't see any of that. So I don't know what was the problem. I don't know. Was Floyd jab bothering him that much? Was his holding and movement bothering him that much? I don't know. Honestly, I think it was just a perfect match of nervousness versus frustration. That's what I said. It was nervousness. It was when nervousness meets frustration. Yeah. And that's what Floyd seemed nervous and Manny seemed frustrated. And because of that, we got what we had. Yeah. And I was so underwhelmed and disappointed by it. But nonetheless, I could say, hey, you know, Floyd did what he had to do to win. Right. But did he win to the point of a scorecard that was 118, 110? Absolutely not. I mean, Floyd even said himself he thought Manny won 3 rounds. Yeah. So when the guy said himself, and even Floyd daddy said, no, it was Floyd father has been recorded on Fight Hype saying, that fight was a little closer than they made it seem. So I don't know what the judges were watching or what was going on, but I had that fight a lot closer. So with that being said, everything that took place, I just got the feeling that maybe this fight was 5 years too late. Because as you said, we thought it would make a better fight because they was aged perfectly enough to be interesting. Right. But maybe this fight should have happened 5 years ago. You know what I mean? When both guys were perceived the best in the world at that time. Maybe it should have happened then and we would have got a better fight. Right. But, that's my feelings on the fight. I mean, I have so much I could say, but I'm just going to boil it down to say that I wasn't impressed. Yeah. Now, see, I want to talk a little bit about something that you touched on where you said you wanted to put a little bit of blame on Manny. And I actually, after the fight, I was just mad at the both of them. But then when I thought about it, I said, okay. You know, I rewatched it again the next day, rescored it and everything. And I said, you know what? I put a lot more of the blame on Manny than I put on Floyd. Because if we're looking at what Floyd has done his last few fights, this is what he's done. I mean, he's slowed down enough where he doesn't lead as much. He's slowed down where he pot shots a lot more than he used to. He doesn't sit down on his punches like he used to. So I mean, Manny and Freddie Roach both came into this fight saying, "Well, we're prepared if he wants to stand and trade. We're prepared if he wants to move. We're prepared if he wants to, sit on the ropes. We're prepared if he wants to sit in the pocket." So where was that? You know what I mean? Where was that? The whole thing, at the end of the day, this fight was a sparring match. It looked like the both of them were just so tentative. I mean, the first 6 rounds, you could see both of them, like I said before, using feints, trying to figure each other out. So you figure, after 6 rounds, both of these men could figure something out enough to take a fucking chance. But they didn't. They were so tentative. I mean, like you said, it could have been frustration meets nervousness, or just both being
nervous, but when you look at the CompuBox numbers, both of them landed a career low in punches landed. They both landed a career low on each other.
Right.
That's embarrassing.
And how does that happen when these are supposed to be the two best guys?
That's what I mean. I know people can twist it to say, well, yeah, they're the best guys. That's why they didn't hit each other that much. But no, if you watch the fight and you have eyes, you realize that they didn't hit each other that much because they didn't take that many chances. You know what I mean? And I fast forward with all those points to say that what literally won this fight for Floyd Mayweather was his jab. Because if you take away his jab, now I know what you guys are thinking. I'm not trying to discredit anything. I promise you. Just stay with my point here. If you take away his jab, or both of their jabs, as a matter of fact, that means Manny would have landed 60 some odd punches and Floyd would have landed 81. Those are power shots. That's embarrassing. A jab is an important punch in boxing, but a jab shouldn't be used to literally win a fight. It should be used to disrupt rhythm. It should be used to set up other punches, but a jab should literally not be that big of a difference in a fight. That's embarrassing for both of them.
Floyd became Larry Holmes that night.
Yeah, and like I said, though, I'm not saying anything bad about Floyd. We know that this is who Floyd is at this point in his career. Manny didn't bring the fight. Just like Max Kellerman said, he had a few interviews, and he said it bluntly. He said, Manny Pacquiao did not bring the fight that we all thought. Now, with all that said, I want to touch on a point that you also said, because I know me and you both agreed on this. I think because Manny didn't bring the fight most of us expected, that's where people kind of started using the Floyd domination thing. Now I actually wrote this almost word for word. I'm trying to rethink what I wrote on Boxing Scene, but this is how I feel about that. Now, whether or not you guys thought Floyd won the fight, maybe 10-2, 8-4, 7-5, whatever you scored the fight, when I think of Floyd dominance, I think of how he dominated Diego Corrales. I think of how he dominated Arturo Gatti. I think of how he dominated Shane Mosley from round 3 to 12. That's domination. That's Floyd taking chances. That's Floyd leading. That's Floyd trying to hurt somebody. Do you remember those right hands he landed against Sugar Shane Mosley? He was trying to take Shane's head off. That's domination. This, like I said, well, even if you scored it 10-2, because I think you can make a case for that, even though I don't agree with it, you can make a case for 10-2 Floyd. Just like you can make a case for 7-5 Floyd. There were swing rounds. But in this fight, Floyd did the bare minimum to win a lot of these rounds. So when you have people like Oscar De La Hoya who said sorry to the boxing fans for this fight, when you have people like Vasily Lomachenko who actually said he thought Pacquiao won the fight, that's Floyd's own fault for doing the bare minimum. And I'm not saying he lost the fight. I think he won the fight. And I'm fine with that. But this whole domination thing, this whole he outclassed him, that was a sparring match, dude. That no one got dominated. That was a sparring match in which two dudes who were past prime were scared to take chances. Now, I'm not the one to ever call a fight boring. You know this, Dennis. A lot of you guys don't know me yet, but you'll get to know me. I don't call fights boring. I think the last fight that I called boring was the Ishe Smith fight. I forgot who it was he fought, but I had to stop watching after about the 6th. It was god-awful. It was a title fight. I forgot who it was against, but it was before he fought.
I think it was him versus Carlos Molina.
Carlos Molina, you're right. That's who it was. That was the last fight I called boring. I mean, and there were a lot of fights that other people have called boring. They called the Lara Canelo fight boring. I found that entertaining. But this fight...
Carlos Molina make that fight against everybody.
Yeah, exactly. But this fight, in even with, obviously the hype around the fight made it worse. But even without that hype, I mean, you're taught like that was ridiculous. I mean, Pacquiao was tentative, Floyd was tentative. Floyd grappled onto him a lot. It was just, there was nothing pleasing to the eye here. None of them took chances. I'm extremely underwhelmed with the fight. But I want to know what you think about the domination thing. I know you share a lot of similar sentiments as me when it comes to that. So how would you word how everyone's saying that Floyd dominated the fight?
I think it simply comes because Pacquiao didn't look like Pacquiao.
Right.
Because that's what it is. I've asked so many people. I've talked to so many different people. And they said domination. And I just want to know why, how, and you know something? They cannot bring up what Floyd did. They brought up what Pacquiao didn't do.
Right. It was perception.
Well, Pacquiao, he said the guy that come through all his 8-punch combinations, he didn't do it. The guy that's so aggressive, he didn't do. The guy that usually had look how many punches he landed. He only landed this many amount of his punches. Every time I bring up anything about how was he dominated, it was a lack of what Pacquiao did.
Right.
Not that Floyd walked him down. You know what I mean? Floyd was aggressive to the point the ref almost had to stop him. Floyd, he just completely blistered him with punches. Floyd, he just made him look foolish. No. It was all about what Pacquiao didn't do that gave him the perception that it was a domination. You see what I'm saying? Because we all know Pacquiao for fighting and being one way. Literally, Pacquiao he only fights one way since we've seen him.
Right.
And that's been aggressive with fast combinations, and he dominated. So the minute that we don't see him doing that, then automatically they say, well, he's getting dominated. Right. Because Floyd has deterred everything that he's good at. But that's just the fact that Floyd is a defensive wizard. The stuff that Pacquiao do to everybody else, he's not going to do that to Floyd. I didn't expect him to cut. But look, listen here. If you expected Pacquiao to go in there and do Floyd like Margarito, or do Floyd like Shane Mosley, or do Floyd like any of these other guys he fought, you were out your mind.
Yeah.
What I expected was him to go in now and outwork and hustle Floyd. It wasn't that I come to expect him to blister Floyd with punches and beat him down. That was not going to happen to Floyd Mayweather Jr. It wasn't. So the fact that I knew that was never going to happen anyway, I didn't see it as a domination. I just saw it as a guy that could not get off the things that he wanted to do, and he got frustrated when he couldn't get the things off. And it may be the combination of him being hurt with the fact that he doesn't like. And I tell you this too, I didn't want to believe it at first. Somebody said, "You think?" And I said, "Because I want to say this." I say, I don't understand why Pacquiao just didn't swing for the fences. In 10, 11, 12 round. I mean, because at that point, even though he said he thought he was winning, he had to kind of know this is Vegas. If you don't dominate Floyd, it's a chance you're not going home.
But wait, can I cut you off?
So he had to know. Go ahead.
Real fast. The funny part about that, he said he coasted in the 11th and 12th round. If you look at the scorecards, it was going into the 11th, it was 6-4 Floyd on those two cards that he won 8-4. Right. So if Pacquiao outworks him those 12 rounds, you're talking about a majority draw. You know what I mean? Like, that's ridiculous. That's. But go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to throw that out there.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, no. I understand what you're saying. So with that mindset, I'm thinking that Pacquiao's going to go for it. And because I said that, so I was called many things, but what stuck out of my mouth was I was called a novice.
Yeah.
That's a novice train of thought. Because a guy decides I'm going to give it my everything, because when I look in the mirror in the morning, I want to know that I did everything I could to win. So I'm going to swing for the fences. If that's a novice way of thinking, then there's a lot of novice coaches, professional boxers, and a lot of other guys out there that know and love boxing. Right. So I'll wear that title if that's how you want to wear it. But with that being said, I'm saying that that's what Manny should have did. And because Manny didn't even try to do that, it makes me really wonder, was he that hurt that he couldn't even make a last push effort to try to be so aggressive to try to get Floyd out of there? Because even Floyd said, he said Floyd said Manny got his attention with a punch. It didn't hurt him, but I beg to differ. He was hurt. Yeah, he was definitely hurt. That's called for I was hurt, but I'm not going to say it to you guys. Yeah. So, but Manny hurt him. And after that, Floyd became it seemed like, to me, maybe I'm wrong, Floyd became an even more defensive fighter. Yeah. So, why didn't that register in Manny's mind? I need to try to go for that and do that again. So not the same way, because once you do it once to Floyd, he takes that way away. But you can try to do it another type of way. Why didn't he try to do that? Right. Was he too hurt? Was he too frustrated? That's what I'm saying. So people think that's a domination because with Floyd just deterred him from doing anything. And where I was going with that was, did Manny not try to go for that? Because in his mind, he said, last time I tried to go for killing a guy, I was getting waking up later. Was that in the back of his mind?
Could have been. Could have been.
There's a lot of different factors to that. He's been KO for rushing in and trying to go in for the kill.
Yeah.
This has happened. So I don't. There's so many different factors. I don't know if we could just call it a domination on Floyd's part instead of a lack of Pacquiao doing what he needed to do on his part. And it's a lot of different factors that could, like I said, it could have been him. He got stretched out before. It could have been the fact that he was hurt. It could have been the fact that he was frustrated. But
or a combination of all.
I cannot buy that Floyd dominated him. Oh, say that again?
No, I just say, or it could have been a combination of all the things that you mentioned.
All of them. It could have.
Yeah,
exactly. What if all three of them was at the same time? But by no means did Floyd go in there and just completely dominate him.
Right.
I think that's just a lack of Manny doing his job. Like even in basketball, they always say this. Did the team win this game or did the team lose the game?
Right. Manny lost that fight.
You know what I mean? Because Manny lost the fight. It wasn't that Floyd won it. Manny lost it. That's how I see it, at least.
Right. But wait. But
so
before.
Let's touch on the injury.
But before we move on, I do want to move on to the injury. But before we say all that, this is not us discrediting Floyd. Floyd did what he had to do. Floyd's been fighting this way. I mean, we've seen this. So this is not Floyd won the fight, people. Don't take this as us trying to find it. We're not. I'm not the excuse maker. I was wrong. I picked Pacquiao to win and outwork him. I was wrong. I'm wearing it now. I'm not embarrassed about that. It was just one prediction. Like I told you guys when I predicted, I've been wrong before, man. I'm not embarrassed to say it. So this isn't us. This isn't us making excuses for Manny. We're just simply talking through it, seeing what happens. So that was just a disclaimer for people before we get labeled, Floyd haters and whatnot.
We'll get 1,000 of those. Hey guys,
right?
Why don't you give guys Floyd credit?
Right,
we'll get 1,000 of those.
Floyd won the fight. We're just simply saying we didn't see a domination like other people did. I described the way I would think a domination is, and then Dennis came in. But go ahead. What were you saying? Do you want me to touch on the Pacquiao injury? What did you want me to specifically talk about it?
I wanted you to touch on the injury. Do you think it occurred before the fight? Do you think it occurred during the fight? And if so, if it occurred before the fight, how do you think he should have handled it? I really want. Because I've been thinking about it. Should he went on with this fight? I want to actually get into the actual injury of it and tell me, what do you think?
So, the story is that 2 weeks prior to the fight, he tore something in his shoulder, which has come out now that it's a rotator cuff tear. So, Freddie Roach says he went to Pacquiao and said, look, I want to postpone the fight. Manny said, no, it's getting better. I'll be fine. So from that point on, they were taking pain medicine for it. And I think that was their first mistake, was not going to the commission and letting them know. Because when you're just taking, assuming it was like Tylenol or some other over-the-counter painkiller, it's not going to take the pain away that much anyway. So when you hear Freddie Roach saying, yeah, we only sparred with our left hand for the last week because we really want to get his left hand ready, like he's not a southpaw already. These are signs like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like, do you get what I'm saying? It's just, the whole thing is just weird and mind-boggling. And this is what I didn't want at the end of the fight, was excuses from either man. And is this a legit excuse? Kinda, he was hurt, but at the same time, when you don't take the proper precautions going into a fight when you get hurt, you're setting yourself up for this. And then they have the nerve to say that the Nevada State Athletic Commission sabotaged them when you fill out the report that says you have no injuries, that you're ready to go, but then 2 or 3 hours before the fight want a xylocaine shot to numb the pain. It's like, you're setting yourself up for failure. So, do I think he got hurt before the fight? Yeah. What do I think he should have done? And would an injury that serious, you either start getting the xylocaine shots right then and there and get it approved by the commission, so the pain is masked and you're able to use that for the fight, even though with that said, if you do that, you're going to tear it more. You're going to hurt it a lot. And that might be career ending if had he done that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you either do that, you get the
Right.
xylocaine shots and regimen going for that right then and there, or you postpone the fight. Because you can't make this excuse. And just like I told you, it's embarrassing because had Manny won that fight, we wouldn't have heard anything about the shoulder injury. You wouldn't have heard anything. He might have said, oh, yeah, I had a little pain in the shoulder, but it didn't affect me. I fought through it. But the fact that he lost this fight, now it's brought up. So it's just that the whole thing just baffles my mind. It's almost to an annoyance because you really don't know Manny Pacquiao to be this sore of a loser. I mean, when he got robbed against Timothy Bradley, he took it like a champ. He took it on the chin and said, you know, everyone knows I won. Maybe it's because he knew he won the fight and it was a different circumstance. But in a fight like that, I can understand anger and him being mad. But like, dude, like you lost the fight and it was your own fault. It was no one else's fault. So you can't use this as an excuse. I mean, what do you think about it?
I'm going to be very blunt, very frank. He should have let it be known that he was injured. And by letting it be known, he should have been examined by a doctor. And like other people do, like some people, they go to the doctor and the doctor say they won't get approved. He should let that been the case. If the doctor say, okay, you can go, pending that we give you shots and we do this and this and this, then he goes. Or the doctor says, no, I can't recommend that you go, then he shouldn't have. I know it's the biggest fight ever. I know we were all expecting and anticipating it. But the fact of the matter is, your health is at stake.
Right.
And on top of that, your reputation is at stake. Because now your reputation gets spotted. It says, okay, as a Christian man talking about God, did you lie? On top of that, you duped everybody. You had people believing in you, betting on you, that wanted you to win. And you went in there under false pretenses, knowing you was hurt and you couldn't fight at the 100% potential. I really believe that this hurts him a little bit, just his reputation and his image. So it would have been better that he been upfront about it and faced whatever consequences as postponing the fight, rather than going through it and then losing the fight and looking like a sore loser who lied. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I think he should have just been upfront about it. You know what I mean? Because now, look, you lost, and then we got to wonder: had Manny Pacquiao would have won, would he have said anything? Would we hear about the knee surgery? Probably not. I'll say we wouldn't have, but who knows? So, with that being said, now that you lost, it kind of doesn't look so good. So I think that yes, he did hurt it before, and I think that's why. Freddie Roach was being so secretive about his camp. We all thought he said he maybe used the excuse that Floyd Mayweather had spies. No, I think that was just a front because Manny Pacquiao was hurt and he didn't want it to be visibly shown that Manny Pacquiao was hurt. But the fact is, I have to even blame Freddie Roach. What type of a coach let his fighter go into the biggest fight of history knowing he's injured? You're gonna send your soldier out there on the warfield with a faulty weapon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he doesn't win. Now you got it. Now you got the results of going out there, stick your tail between your legs and say, we wasn't really healthy.
Yeah.
Come on,
right.
man. You can't do that. You're better off just saying, hey, I want to put my guy in the best circumstance to win. I'm sorry, everybody, but I want him to win. I know he can win, and I won't send him out there with any less than 100%. Because this isn't a sprain, this isn't a muscle pull. You know, this isn't some small. This is a significant tear. This, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is something that needs surgery and 6 to 9 months to heal. You don't send him out there against Floyd Mayweather Jr., the best fighter in the world right now, injured.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it.
But I'd like to get onto a rematch. Firstly, do you want to see one? Obviously, it probably won't be in September if he's gonna get this surgery. So He's going to be out for some time. I think the earliest it would probably be next May. Now, do you want to see a rematch? 1, 2, does Manny Pacquiao deserve a rematch? And 3, if you don't think he deserves a rematch, where do both of these fighters go from here to either set up a rematch or to not have a rematch at all? So, what do you think about all that?
When you first started out saying, do I want to see a rematch? I don't know, man. I'm honest. I could have just made up something, but you know what? I don't know. At this particular time, it's left a little sour taste in my mouth, and maybe at a later date, I might feel a different way as things progress. I might decide, you know what? It could be interesting if Manny's 100% healthy. It even could be more beneficial the fact that Manny has fought him already, and he see what he can bring to the table. He see how good he is defensively. He see how fast he is and elusive with the movement, and that gives Manny an inside look on what to do next time and how to get to him. Those are the things that I would have to sit back and actually take a deep think before I can decide, yeah, I want to see it, put it on board. Right now, I don't know. If it came on tomorrow, would I watch it? Yeah, because that's what we do. That's hardcore. We watch it.
Yeah.
But what do I desire it? I'm not sure if I desire it right now. I really got to think about that. Honestly, I more desire Floyd Mayweather versus Amir Khan more than anything, more than that fight right now. I would desire to see that fight because it's a different matchup. Obviously, Amir Khan, he about as fast as the both of them. He actually has a very decent jab. He's long, so he doesn't have to have those problems of will he be able to get in.
Right.
He's a younger guy. Amir Khan is arguably he is in his prime at this particular point, or he's very close to it. So he's not a guy that's out of his prime. So that I would definitely want to see that more than Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather too. So at this point in time, I don't know. But does he deserve one? I'll say yeah, he deserves it. I'll say he deserves it. If nothing else, for the fact that even though we already spoke, it was due to his own fault, his own unintelligent move, that he was hurt.
Yeah.
If anything else, I would probably say no. If it wasn't for that, I would say no, because I would say, hey, like we said, it was Manny's fault that he didn't do these certain things to push the envelope. So I would just say, hey, you accept that defeat and you move on. But if nothing else, for the fact that he's hurt, I would like to maybe, I don't know, like I said, maybe see how he look healthy. So I would say, yeah, he deserves it. And plus because, hey, they both are the best at what they do. So, yeah, he deserves it. What was the third question was, what's next for them if they don't fight each other?
Well, even what's next for them in the first place, but what would Manny have to do to really get the public wanting a rematch maybe next May?
I think, after Manny gets his surgery, Manny needs to come and apologize, first of all, to all of his fans and everybody he let down for lying. And he needs to somehow, some way, just like how Carl Frost did with Ward, even though Ward beat him with one arm, Carl Frost has somehow convinced his fans and the people in the UK that, you know what, he can actually beat Ward.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but he's done it. And that's what Manny needs to do. He needs to instill confidence back in the Pac-Tard Nation.
Yeah.
That, you know what, I can't beat Floyd Mayweather Jr. for X, Y, and Z. If he can do that, then people start craving it again, and then people start bringing up why it should happen. And I don't know exactly at this moment what he's going to say or how he should say it, but he needs to find a tactic to how to get everybody back on board and excited about a Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight. Because now, I don't know too many people are excited about it.
But do you think words would be enough, or do you think like what fighter like forget what he could say, because he could be politically correct and say a lot of things. What fighter would he have to beat to say, you know what, he was hurt against Floyd? Not necessarily he was hurt, but maybe he had a bad showing against Floyd. This restored my faith as a Pacquiao fan. Like if I was just a Pac-Tard, well, who could Pacquiao beat to make me want to see a rematch with Floyd next May?
Nobody. Because nobody's at the caliber of Floyd Mayweather Jr. I mean, let's be honest. If he would come back and beat Keith Thurman, it would be intriguing, but people say Keith Thurman's no Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Right.
And plus, I don't even know if that's physically possible because once his surgery is gonna take 6 to 9 months. So once he come back, that's gonna be Floyd's potential last fight anyway. So I don't think he has time to come back, fight somebody, and then earn the public's respect to fight Floyd. Which brings me to this. Floyd lied to us too. I mean, assuming that he's keeping his word, he lied. If that makes sense, if he's keeping his word, then he lied.
Right.
Because he said September will be his last fight, right?
Right.
And then he goes and say that he's willing to fight Manny Pacquiao when he's healthy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that would be next year. And he said that he will fight in September to honor his contract. So that means he's going to fight in September, and then he's willing to fight next May, which will break the Rocky Marciano record. He will get the 50th win. When he was saying that he doesn't care about that in his last fight, he's going to obligate his contract, and that's it. But with this out, it's seeming he's going to take the September and take on Manny when Manny gets healthy.
Yeah.
So I want to actually touch on the fact that who would I want to see to occupy Floyd Mayweather's time in September? First of all, I'm going to say whoever he picks. I don't care if he picks Paulie Maldonado, no disrespect to him, or if he picks Joe Blow. It doesn't matter. He at this particular point, Floyd has really earned the right to fight whoever he wants to.
Yeah.
I have to say that. I have to give him his props. This is the part where I give Floyd Mayweather his props. He deserves the right to pick the easiest fight in September.
Yeah.
Or he could decide to say, let me just take a bigger step and a bigger challenge to get the fans even more excited. I'm telling you, no matter who he picks in September, I will support it, I will back it, and I will praise it. Because he deserves it.
Yeah.
If he honestly, he can decide to fight a guy that's not even a contender. This is just to say I want to stay sharp, and I wouldn't complain. Honestly, I wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like it's something like we were saying with Cotto, and people say he takes too long to make his pick. With guys like that, legends, they earn the right to pretty much do what they want to do.
Yeah.
You can't question them. They have earned it. Now, so they've been fighting the top contenders and fighting these dogs for years. So they've earned the right at this part of their career to pick who they want to. So, but who would I like to see Floyd fight in September? Either Khan, Keith Thurman, or Kell Brook. Them are the only three names I would care for. In that order. Khan, because the style matchup. Keith Thurman, because he just deserves the title shot. And Kell Brook, because he actually has a title.
Yeah.
Them are the three names I would want to see him fight in September. But if I told you, if he decided to pick the bottom of the barrel, it wouldn't matter much to me. I still watch and support.
Yeah.
Manny, he needs to get healthy, and if he doesn't get the Floyd fight, I suggest he goes to the Planet Bobhead. He fights Terrence Crawford, and he calls it a wrap.
Yeah.
He goes off into the sunlight. What do you think?
Well, just to answer my three questions. One.
Gotta do that. You made me do it.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. One. Does Manny deserve a rematch? Based on what he did in that fight, no. But simply based on, maybe he wasn't healthy, that's honestly the only intriguing part. Is that, okay, maybe he really wasn't healthy, he gets this surgery, we can see it again. But, and the reason I asked you, though, who do you think he could beat that would restore, I guess, interest in a rematch with Floyd? And you worded it correctly. You answered it just like I thought you were. There's no one that he can beat. So and that was the same thing that I had. There was no there's no one boxer that you can say, oh, he beat him, so now he's ready for Floyd. I mean, I think they were both ready for each other at this point in their career. So I don't think. But what I'm thinking is, whoever he fights, he needs to put on a good show. He needs to put on a good. If he has a stinker, say he comes back in November, December. If he puts on an absolute stinker, no one's going to want to see it. No matter who he fights, he has to fight like the Manny we have seen in the past. He simply has to put on a show, and maybe, and that's still a maybe for me. I don't know if I want to see I'm in the same boat as you. I don't know if I want to see it again. I mean, I feel like they robbed a lot of people of their money, especially with the whole shoulder thing. It's ridiculous,
Right.
you know. But on to what I think Floyd should do. Just like you said, I mean, he's earned his right to pick who he wants, and I think he's earned that right for a while now. I think I don't think his resume is as good as his diehard fans think it is, but I don't think it's bad as his haters think it is. I'm somewhere in the middle. I think he has a very solid resume. I mean, he's been fighting since the Corrales fight. He's I mean, has he maybe avoided a few fighters? Yeah, but that's a different topic. I don't want to get into that. But for what his resume for what it is, I like it. I think it's a very solid resume. He's pound for pound number one. So just like you said, no matter who he fights, I'm going to watch it. And just like you said, too, though, even if they rematch, we're kidding ourselves if we say we won't watch it. I mean, unless they charge $100 again, which would be a disgrace, we're all watching it. We're boxing fans.
I wouldn't do it.
Right. We're boxing fans. But as to who I want Floyd to fight, there's only two names that stick out for me. Well, two and a half. Amir Khan, Keith Thurman, and then the half comes in because I wouldn't be mad at a Gennady Golovkin match, but that's only if Gennady can make 154 healthy. I don't want to see Gennady as a skeleton at 54 and things like that. And the only reason I'd want to see that fight, I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, I just want Floyd to lose. I like Floyd. I don't dislike Floyd. There's not many fighters I dislike. Actually, we might make a video telling fighters that we dislike, and people would laugh at the fighters I dislike. They're like, it's funny. They're not big name. They're just funny.
I know the fighters you dislike, and it's funny.
Yeah, I know. It's hilarious. Like I don't dislike Floyd. I like Floyd. But so it's not me saying, oh, I want him against a killer. Gennady will take his head off. Because I think Floyd has a decent shot of outboxing him. I really like to see, because I guess the thing that interests me is Floyd usually has advantages going into fights. You know what I mean? He has the reach advantage, he has the speed advantage, he has the IQ advantage, but he doesn't have a lot of advantages against Gennady Golovkin, and I'd like to see how Floyd would react to that, what he would do to offset Gennady Golovkin's offense. I mean, that's not hard. I mean, that's a very hard thing to do. It's not easy. So that's the thing that's really intriguing to me, is that we haven't seen Floyd at too many disadvantages. And even when he's at a disadvantage, he turns that into an advantage. He's so smart. So it's just, I would love to see what he can do with that. But that's why I kind of said 2.5, because that's based on a lot of factors as to whether I would want to see that fight or not. You get what I'm saying? But
yeah, I tell you this though, if Floyd has that magic A game that nobody's ever seen, GGG will bring it out of him. No doubt.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, we might even have to mess around and make a video as to the different aspects about that fight. But that's for the future. Right. I mean, I feel like I've said all I can say about the fight. To recap my thoughts, I didn't think Floyd dominated. I thought he won. And just like I said, whether you thought he won 10-2, 12-0, or 7-5, just because you win rounds doesn't mean you really dominated the fight. I mean, it's kind of the same way I looked at the Miguel Cotto Floyd Mayweather fight. I thought Floyd won that fight 9-3. But did he dominate? Hell no. Cotto made him fight every single fucking round. That was a great fight. You know what I mean? Like, that wasn't outclassed or out. Right, and I could see that. I could see maybe 7-5, 8-4. I'm cool with that. But like, Floyd clearly. That's exactly why I had it. I had a 7-5. Yeah, Floyd clearly won the fight, just like he clearly won this fight. I'm cool with that. But there's a difference between domination and winning, even if it's wide. When you're barely winning rounds, that's not dominating, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I know some people feel differently, but that's just me. And just, to continue to recap, the fight was a stinker. And I put most of the blame on Manny Pacquiao, because we know what we're going to get when we see Floyd fight at this stage in his career.
All right, everybody. That was a great segment outside the square circle. I hope you enjoyed it, because I'm doing it, and I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it, Frank?
I had fun. I mean, I could talk boxing with you all day, brother.
Guys, I really hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to say, share it, like it. Please subscribe. We do this for you guys. We're going to continue to do this for you guys. We're going to continue to push the envelope. You know what, guys? I want you to do also? And down in the comments, tell us what you want to hear us talk about. What topics should we touch on in boxing? What do you want to hear us debate about, or even just bring up in dialogue? Because we want to talk about things not only that we want to hear, but we want to talk about things that you want to hear. This is all we're doing this episode for you guys, and we're in this together. This thing of boxing, we gonna figure it out together, guys. So I really appreciate you for watching another segment of us. Have a great one. You go ahead. Anything you want to say, Frank?
Yeah, man. Thank you guys for watching. Like Dennis said, like, subscribe. Please like our Facebook page. I'll put the link in the description. Give us ideas, because the things we've been talking about is not only do we want to get reaction videos and prediction videos, but we want to get more topics where there's a little more back and forth and more opinions rather than analysis. So if you guys have topics that you want us to touch on, man, feel free to hit us on Facebook, hit us on here, direct message us on YouTube, or whatever means that you guys want to send us. Just let us know, because we're eager to start really getting things popping off with the channel. But thanks for watching, man. We appreciate you guys. If you had a problem with anything we said, don't get too mad. We're only human. You know, critique us. Let us know what we can do better. Let us know what we did bad. Let us know what we did good. I mean, we want to hear everything. So if you have any opinion, just comment. So just thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys continue to tune in, and you guys have a good one.